NBA trade deadline came and went on Thursday, and it was a crazy one. One of the craziest NBA trade deadlines of history. That's saying something, especially compared to last year when you had James Harden, Ben Simmons, Kristaps Porzingis on the move. So really it says a lot. Man, yesterday was crazy. I had probably over 1,000 Twitter notifications from NBA reporters. So it just sums up what an insane day it was. And we had some huge pieces on the move. So this video, I won't be grading every NBA trade. There were so many just minuscule deals that happened that if I spent time on it, this would be an hour-long video. I will talk about the trades that will either help teams or it will help their rebuilding or draft capital situation. We'll talk about the biggest sellers of the NBA trade deadline, and that was the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie on Sunday and then Kevin Durant late Wednesday night. And it had Twitter buzzing. It had me buzzing. I pulled over on the side of the road to talk about the Kyrie Irving trade. Y'all saw that video. And then Kevin Durant, I had to talk about that at work. So Kyrie got moved Sunday. Brooklyn Nets traded him for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a 2029 first-round pick. Also, 2 future second-round picks go to Brooklyn as well. And I don't know how to feel about this trade for Dallas. I really like it. They had to give up some pieces. They had to give up Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, who really helps on the defensive end. And they didn't really make another move yesterday or at the trade deadline to help their defense. So Dorian Finney-Smith definitely hurts. A 2029 first-round pick, that's so in the future that you don't know where you'll be at that time. So that hurts as well. I wish they could have gave up like a 2025 or 2026, but they didn't. But they did get Kyrie Irving. Kyrie can fit with Luka. You saw how he fit with LeBron in Cleveland, won him a championship. And that is the type of ball-dominant player Luka is compared to LeBron. So I really think it'll help out the Mavericks. I think they can have a deep playoff run this season, but they are going to be missing Dorian Finney-Smith on the defensive end. For Brooklyn, since this was before the Kevin Durant trade, I really liked this trade, but now you have 2 pieces in Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith that are good on contending teams, but I don't really know what they're doing on your team for your rebuild. So maybe you can move them in the offseason. I think Spencer Dinwiddie's contract is up, but you can get something from them, and I will really like it. But I also like Dorian Finney-Smith, so if you don't move him and you keep him, I'm also good with that. They also traded Kevin Durant, the big one, on Wednesday night. They traded Kevin Durant, TJ Warren in exchange for Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and 4 first-round picks. The Nets don't have any picks because of the James Harden deal, and so to get all these picks back, to get 4 of them, plus the Kyrie deal, to get 5 first-round picks on this trade deadline is awesome for Brooklyn. I love it. I really do. To get Mikal Bridges, I love Mikal Bridges. We are huge Mikal Bridges fans on this channel. And also Cam Johnson, that's a great three-point shooter who can really help out that team. So I really like this trade for Brooklyn. I really do. And for the Phoenix Suns, man, you get Kevin Durant. You get a top 15 player of all time on your team to pair him with CP3, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. I love it. I love it all around. Moving on to the Lakers, they were big buyers this trade deadline. They gave up Kendrick Nunn, a second-round pick, and another conditional second-round pick in exchange for Rui Hachimura, and I love this trade. Kendrick Nunn was barely getting minutes, hasn't been good since his rookie year, missed all of last year with a weird injury, and this year just hasn't been getting minutes. So to give him and a second-round pick and maybe another second-round pick, the Lakers are a contending team. They're not worried about second-round picks at the moment. So to get Rui Hachimura, a person who can really help alongside Anthony Davis and even come off the bench and be a scorer. Another deal the Lakers did was they traded Westbrook to the Utah Jazz in a 3-team deal. So the Lakers received D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt in this trade, while giving up Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damian Jones, and a 2027 first-round pick. And I couldn't be happier with Rob Pelinka and the Lakers. This was just an awesome move to get 3 big rotational players to surround LeBron and Anthony Davis. Just awesome to me. D'Angelo Russell comes back. Obviously, the ball will be in LeBron's hands most of the time, so D'Angelo Russell can kind of sit back, see what LeBron does with it, and just be open for the shot and play make as well. So I really like this trade. Malik Beasley might even come off the bench like he usually does and just be a 15-point per night scorer. Also, Jared Vanderbilt, huge Jared Vanderbilt fan. I loved him at Minnesota. For the Lakers to get him, for him to be a bench piece on that team, just a huge shout out to the Lakers, man. The Timberwolves in this trade gave up D'Angelo Russell to get Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and 3 second-round picks. And I really like this for Minnesota as well. They needed a stable point guard. They didn't have one all season or year before that. For them to get a stable point guard in Mike Conley and maybe he can mentor Anthony Edwards. He can set up Rudy Gobert and Cat on the block, and just a really big move for Minnesota. They were struggling this year. Maybe this can turn that around. The Utah Jazz get Russell Westbrook, a first-round pick, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Damian Jones. They bought out Russell Westbrook. So this was pretty much all for a first-round pick. They did give up Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. So a really good move by a rebuilding team. The Jazz are in the playoffs right now. So I don't even want to call them a rebuilding team, but they have so many picks that it's like they're a rebuilding team. So they add another first-round pick, 2027, and I do like this for the Jazz a lot. I just hate that they had to let go of Jared Vanderbilt. Staying on the Lakers, they also gave up Thomas Bryant to Denver in exchange for Devon Reed, and I think it was 3 second-round picks. Might have been just 2. I think it was 3, though. But I didn't like this trade at the moment. I actually texted my friends in the group chat and said, what are the Lakers doing? And my friend Carter, shout out to Carter, huge Lakers fan, biggest LeBron fan you will ever meet in your life. Shout out to him. He told me that they have another move up their sleeve, and he was right. They traded Patrick Beverley for Mo Bamba straight up. So Mo Bamba comes over, replaces Thomas Bryant, and is a better shooter than Thomas Bryant, in my opinion. I really like this for the Lakers. He can come off the bench, give Anthony Davis a break. With three-point shooting, he can also play with Anthony Davis. So I like this trade a lot. I hate they had to give up Patrick Beverley. He's like a bench guy. He's like a locker room guy. But he just got bought out by the Orlando Magic, so maybe he comes back to the Lakers. Who knows? The Bucks picked up Jay Crowder in exchange for, I believe it was 5 second-round picks. 5 second-round picks, but that's all right. The Bucks aren't worried about picks at all at the moment. Jay Crowder kind of replaces the P.J. Tucker role that P.J. had on the championship team, so huge get for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Toronto Raptors picked up Jakob Poeltl from the Spurs. This is a really funny trade because Jakob Poeltl was with the Raptors. He got drafted by the Raptors, and then he was involved in the Kawhi Leonard trade 2018 offseason, and it won them a championship. So no regrets there, but them getting them back, pretty cool to see. Don't like that they had to give up a first-round pick in this trade. They gave up a first-round pick last year at trade deadline to get Thaddeus Young. And so really weird 2 trade deadlines from the Raptors. Also, they aren't really contending at the moment. They're contending for a playoff spot, but I would not give up a 2024 first-round pick, especially that early, to get Jakob Poeltl. But the Spurs get a first-round pick for him and 2 seconds. So huge get for the Spurs, a rebuilding team, just going to help them for the future. The Clippers were also pretty big movers at the trade deadline. They picked up Nishan Bones Highland from Denver in exchange for 2 second-round picks. So the Clippers aren't worried about picks either. They're trying to win a ring this year. Gives them a playmaker and a scorer off the bench. You saw what he did in his rookie year in Denver last year. So really surprised they got him for that package. I hate it for Denver. He's on a 4-year rookie contract, and you give him up for 2 second-round picks just because him and the coach are not getting along. I hate that. I hate that so much. He was so good last year. So I love Bones Highland. I hope he really thrives in the Clippers on a contending team. Another trade at the deadline for the Los Angeles Clippers. They gave up Luke Kennard, John Wall, and a protected pick swap for Eric Gordon and 3 future second-round picks. I don't really know what to say about this trade. Eric Gordon comes over, gives them 3-point shooting, gives them a little help on the defensive perimeter, even though the Clippers don't really need that with Kawhi, with Paul George. They don't necessarily need that, but he adds an extra 3-point shooter. I hate they had to move Luke Kennard, such a good shooter in my opinion, but he doesn't give you anything defensively. Maybe that's what the Clippers needed in that role. Now, the Clippers did give up John Wall in this deal, so I hate that. I hate that John Wall didn't work out in L.A. Just didn't live up to what I thought he would be for them. Kind of a secondary playmaker because he wouldn't have the ball in his hands a whole lot with Paul George and Kawhi, but just didn't work out. He moves on to Houston, which is really funny, his former team that he was there for 2 years, so really funny to see. He will get bought out, so we'll see what team gets John Wall. The Portland Trailblazers had another weird day. In this trade, they let go of Josh Hart in exchange for Cam Reddish, Matisse Thybulle, Ryan Arcidiacono, and a 2023 first-round pick. The reason why I say it's weird is because I don't know what Portland's doing at the moment. I don't know if they're rebuilding or contending for a playoff spot. So this trade doesn't really answer that for me. They get a rebuilding player in Cam Reddish, who on this team, they really need wings. So maybe he can come over. This is his 3rd team. Maybe he can come over and thrive. I hope so because I like Cam Reddish. I liked him a lot at Duke, and he just hasn't really had a good role in the NBA. He had a few great playoff games. They also get Matisse Thybulle, just a lockdown perimeter guy. He can't shoot to save his life, can't score to save his life, but maybe that's all Portland wanted in this deal. The biggest thing is the first round pick. It's 2023, so it's this year's draft, but it will just give them another first round pick to maybe move or who knows, just take a guy. The Knicks received Josh Hart in this deal, so I love this for the Knicks. I love Josh Hart on the Knicks. I hope he has a really good role on that team, and he definitely should. The Warriors finally traded James Wiseman in a deal to Detroit in exchange for Gary Payton II and 3 conditional future second-round picks. Now, Gary Payton, it just came out yesterday that he did not pass his physical, but I believe this trade will still get done. James Wiseman, we've just been looking to get him off of our team for this past trade deadline, this offseason, last year's trade deadline. So for it to finally happen, I'm glad. Former number 2 overall pick. And I hate it for him. I hate that it didn't work out for us, but hopefully he goes to Detroit, kind of feels out the NBA, and maybe he can catch up to speed. Just hasn't looked that good. Played in the G League, didn't even play in college very much at all with all the money allegations stuff that, that's another topic for another day. But yeah, just didn't look NBA ready at all in his first 2.5 seasons. So I hope he can revitalize that and change his career in Detroit. The Pistons gave up Saddiq Bey to Atlanta in this deal. It was a 4-teamer, so it kind of makes everything confusing. But Saddiq Bey's with the Hawks now. I don't like this deal for Detroit. I don't like them giving up Saddiq Bey. I love Saddiq Bey. He had a great rookie year. Didn't really shoot the ball that well last year and is not really shooting the 3 ball that well this year either. But what he provides you, playmaking and on the defensive side, I believe it's a lot to give up. But maybe they didn't see him in their long-term plans. But who knows? The Detroit Pistons received James Wiseman, like I said, and they have so many bigs. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart. They're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. So really strange deal in my opinion. The Hawks gave up second-round picks to get Saddiq Bey, a wing. So I really like this for the Hawks. Also, Detroit didn't trade Bojan Bogdanovic. Really surprised about that. I feel like they really could have got a first-round pick, but maybe the phone calls weren't working. Maybe just people weren't on the same side. But you still got him on your team. Just kind of weird to me. I really thought he was going to be traded yesterday. The Pelicans traded for Josh Richardson. They gave up Devontae Graham and 4 second-round picks. I really like this for the Pelicans. Devontae Graham was on a horrific contract. He had a great year with Charlotte. Then he got all the money, went to New Orleans, and he just hasn't lived up to his contract. $13 million a year for a guy that can't provide you anything defensively and hasn't been that great shooting the ball. So really happy for the New Orleans Pelicans. They get a wing, a good 3-and-D wing, and they had to give up 4 second-round picks, but that is all right. For the Spurs, I like this deal, but I wish they could have got a first-round pick instead of 4 seconds. But that's all right. The Spurs are a rebuilding team. They're not worried about paying Devontae Graham, so pretty good trade for the Spurs. So yeah, guys, that is all my thoughts on the crazy NBA trade deadline. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see what it turns out for all these teams. If you want more NBA videos, just like and subscribe. Really helps the channel out a lot. But all right, guys, I'm out.